Hey, this is Lynn. Today's Saturday, May 11th, 2024, and I know it's been a while since I've come on and did a video other than my Monday weigh-in videos, but my daughter's married. She's in Hawaii right now. She's off doing her thing. We're empty nesters, and I know I'm really far behind in responding to your comments. I apologize about that. I will do my best to get caught up. And I appreciate all the comments and all the support that everyone gave me as I'm, going through the wedding and getting everything ready. And so happy I was able to dance at my daughter's wedding and have stamina. And that was a big goal that I had. I tested out one of my other non-scale goals, and it's one that I haven't met yet. So I guess I can go back and say I have met, let me see, I think I've met at least 3, if not 4 of my non-scale goals. One of them back early on was just to be able to get up off the floor without help. I achieved that one pretty early on. One was to be able to sit in chairs without needing to, or booths at restaurants without needing to worry. And when I initially made my video about my non-scale goals, I mentioned being able to go get my hair done and be able to sit, at the hairdresser without worrying about their, breaking their chair. But I kind of expounded that just to say chairs in general. I can definitely say I have met that goal. I have noticed just recently that I don't even think about it. If I go to a restaurant, about whether to sit in a booth or a table, it used to be making sure we could sit at a table. And of course, the chair itself at the table made a big difference too, because there's some places like little cafes where they have these dinky little chairs and they look very unstable. And so I would always worry about that. Not an issue. And like I mentioned in my last video on Monday, that initially at the wedding, the goal was to have an armchair for me because at my size and my physical condition, there's no way I would be able to sit in those chairs at the wedding venue. And I didn't even need one. So that was one of my goals I have met. The third goal was to dance at my daughter's wedding and have stamina. I met that goal. And there's 2 more goals. So one is to complete a 5K, which I have planning on doing sometime this summer, is to sign up for a 5K. Now today I went out to a meetup with Coach Rose AJ, Carnivore Girl for Life. It was at Green Lake, which is in northern Seattle, and it's actually 3.2 miles. So I believe it's about a 5K walk around the Green Lake. And so I'm going to share how that went, but that's not an official 5K. So I did it, so I know that I can walk a 5K. I just need to make it official. So the last goal, sorry, I got a runny nose for some reason. Seasonal allergies. But anyways, the last goal is to finally go flying with my husband. And since I've never been able to fly with him, and before I tried to get in his plane and my hips popped the door open. I couldn't. And then I couldn't even get in his plane after I gained even more weight. I couldn't even get in the plane. And so yesterday we went by the hangar. He needed to pick something up at the hangar. And I thought, just for the heck of it, let's see if I can even get in the plane now. And yes, I can actually get in his plane. And I, sat in the passenger seat. I am not 100% to the point weight-wise where I need to be, but I'm like right there. I think I need to be 250 or lower. And I'm part of another weight loss challenge where I weigh in on Fridays. And so I did weigh in yesterday and I was at 250.0. Now, sometimes my weight goes back up, my weight goes up and down, but I'm really close. So I don't want to necessarily go flying right at 250. I want to be a little bit less, but I fit in the plane. I was able to actually get in the plane and out of the plane. That was huge. So big deal. That's like a step closer to meeting that goal. Now, so that's pretty cool. I'm getting there. I feel as though by the end of the summer, I'm probably going to have all 5 of those goals ticked off. Oh my goodness. I swear my nose is dripping like crazy. Sorry. I don't plan these ahead of time, and I really don't edit. So you get what you get. So anyways, me wiping my nose. I don't even know what towel this is. But anyways, it's coming in handy. That's for sure. Okay. So today I put my mast cells to the test and went on a meetup, like I said, with Coach Rose AJ, Carnivore Girl for Life, who lives in Tacoma. And I'm farther north in about 20 miles north of Seattle. And so we had planned this meetup quite a while ago, and I got to meet, and when Dave came, my husband came. He was the lone man there. So thank you, hun, for coming. I still want him to come places with me, because until I've gone like a whole year without having a mast cell reaction, when I go to someplace new and the environment is new and I just don't quite know if there's going to be triggers for me, I just feel a lot more comfortable having him close by, because there have been times where I've had issues with an acute reaction with throat swelling, where I get really dizzy, nausea, dizziness, severe tachycardia, severe hypertension. I mean, it is an emergency and need to have an ambulance called. So I have had one mast cell reaction probably in the last maybe 6 months. But I did have one, and it was kind of random. So I'm still, not super comfortable going to new places by myself and without him. So I'm very thankful that he came. I got to meet some new people. So hi there to everybody that I met. And it was awesome. It was awesome. So I met Kim. Now, she was just on, I don't know how recent, but she was on Dave Mack's channel sharing her story. So check that out. I will leave a link. And she and Rose and I are going to be doing a live stream together June 11th. So that's still a little ways out. It's a month from today. By that time, I will be back from the Hack Your Health conference and all the filming we're doing there in Austin with the Healing Humanity documentary. So I'm looking forward to having that live stream with her. So it was really great meeting her. And I met Laquitha. Please tell me I said that right. I was calling her Laquita, and I think it's Laquita. Once I get in front of the camera, sometimes my brain just skips out. I was being tested while we were there on the names, and I had been calling her Laquita, I think. And then at the very end, I got corrected as Laquita. So hope I got that right. Anyways, beautiful lady. And everybody there was wonderful. And then I met also Renee. And I spent quite a bit of time talking to Renee. So hi, Renee, if you're watching. Talking to Renee actually was wonderful, because it reminded me of one of the reasons why I have my channel. And initially it was to hold myself accountable. But it has changed over the months. I'm coming up on 1 year eating a carnivore diet. And, initially the issue was Mast Cell Activation Syndrome. And of course, I was very morbidly obese, and I was very quickly on my way to being a cripple, could barely walk, and reacting to all sorts of things, environmental, dietary, and sometimes it just seemed random. I don't believe it was random. It's just I didn't know what I was reacting to. I mean, my mast cells are dysfunctional. Like I've mentioned before, it's like sending out a whole fleet of fire trucks when there's either no fire or there's a fire that's so tiny that you could put it out with a fire extinguisher, but yet my system overreacts. But anyways, Renee has so many of the same symptoms that I have. I was sharing with her, my health journey and things that I dealt with, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, are you getting into my head and into my life?" It was interesting, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that have undiagnosed mast cell disease. And it's sad that it's still the case, because there really needs to be a lot more awareness about it, because it's way more common than originally thought. It's just really not on the radar of doctors. So it was really cool to be able to talk to Renee and give her hope. And Renee, if you're listening, and she's found my channel, so I assume you're listening, Renee. I want you to have hope that there is a solution and that you can actually have quality of life. And I know that with mast cell disease, and whether it's mast cell disease or just histamine intolerance, whatever it is, whether, it's miserable and it's frustrating when you don't have answers. And it's frustrating when you're always having these crazy, strange reactions and nobody can tell you why. And so just getting some hope that there's a solution is huge. So I'm glad I got to meet everybody. And it was really, really, it is a beautiful place. But today was also a day for me to put my mast cells to the test. And I was actually a little nervous going into it, to be honest. And it was a beautiful, gorgeous day. And it's a Saturday, and Green Lake is really it's a beautiful regional park, and it's right next to the zoo. And so it does attract a lot of people. And but for me, heat intolerance is definitely a big deal. UV rays are definitely a big deal, and the UV index is high. And for people living in really hot climates, like Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, or where it's really humid, or Central Valley of California, which is where I grew up, 80 degrees sounds like nothing. But for me, with my mast cell disease, 80 degrees can be very triggering, especially if either I'm in a stuffy environment, which when we were outdoors was not stuffy, but if we were in a stuffy environment, that can be very triggering. I can get overheated pretty quickly, or if the UV index is moderate or high, and it was high. Fortunately, the trail around the lake had sunny areas and shady areas throughout most of the trail, so that was good. But I wasn't sure how I was going to do. I have my rescue meds, and honestly, I still have them in my bra. I take them with me just in case I get throat swelling. And so in the past, what would have happened is probably within 20 minutes of being out in that, I would have started getting very dizzy, very nauseated, and kind of like heat stroke type symptoms. My rosacea would be flaring up. I'd be very flushed, and I would have had to get myself into a cool environment very quickly. Otherwise, I would have ended up with abdominal cramping, and I might have had throat swelling as well. I don't have throat swelling as often from the sun, but with the sun, it's more nausea, dizziness, and really severe abdominal cramping. So it was interesting to see. I was interested to see how I would do today. And I didn't need to take my rescue meds. I'll say that first off. I was able to get probably, I'd say maybe 80% around the lake before I had to sit down in the shade. And I started to feel some symptoms, maybe 60-70% way around, but they weren't too bad. And honestly, overall, it became acute. But I still did notice that the heat intolerance was starting to kick in. So we stopped, and there was a bench in the shade, and there was a beautiful breeze, so that was nice. And I had to, drink water, sit there, and try to cool myself down a little bit. I can't say that I really officially, really got cooled down, but I got cooled down enough to where I could finish walking around the lake. So I think that's a positive thing. I did not have an acute reaction. So that's a huge, huge accomplishment. And But I can't say that I had no reaction. I could tell my body was starting to work towards a reaction. So I guess if anything, I could say with my mast cell disease, my tolerance has increased, and the length of time that I can handle being exposed to a trigger has definitely increased. That is really, really amazing. And I get asked sometimes, do you think that the carnivore diet is a cure for mast cell activation syndrome? I don't know yet. And and there may be someone who does know, but I don't know yet. But what I can say is that it has significantly improved my reactivity. A big component of it has been avoiding histamine and avoiding foods that have toxic effects on my body and give me something to react to. And of course, plant-based foods fall into that category. And I don't know, someday I may be able to have something, but right now, just like people with autoimmune disease, with my immune system disease, I have to be super strict. So I basically eat beef and lamb. I have found that I have improved from a histamine standpoint to the point where I can occasionally now have a full egg, including the egg white, because the egg white is high histamine. I do more often than having the full egg is I'll have like an egg yolk scramble. But I can occasionally have a little bit of other things like cheese occasionally. Occasionally I can have a little bit of bacon, but man, if I do too much, like when I was staying at the Airbnb before the wedding with my sister that one night, and then the next morning I made scrambled eggs and bacon and had that for breakfast. I paid for it the next day. My gut was very unhappy. So I still have to be really careful. And honestly, it's been, like I said, almost a whole year. And I'm still fairly early on in the process. I mean, I've had the Mast Cell Activation Syndrome for decades. I've obviously hereditary alpha tryptophanemia, which I also have, is hereditary. I've had it my whole life. So I don't expect to be 100% in just a year after spending almost 55 years not taking care of myself because I didn't know what I had. I mentioned before that when I was looking for energy because the fatigue was so intense, I'd use food. I was looking for a source of energy. And so I'd eat whatever crap garbage food would give me that quick spike and give me a little bit of energy. But, sorry, make sure my cord's plugged in. But anyways, it's a fairly recent change, even though it has been almost a year. It's not something that is, I think, going to be 100% overnight. The amount of improvement I've seen over this past year has given me my life back. Like I literally had no life, and it has given me my life back. A year ago, there's no way I could have done this walk that I did today. Not even close. I couldn't even really walk around my block. I could barely even walk around my house because I was limping all the time and I was in so much pain all the time. So it was a big win. And I think that I'm going to just continue to be really careful when it comes to my sun exposure. And but I'm very encouraged that I was able to do this today without having an acute reaction. So, I'm just hoping and praying that as time goes on, my tolerance will improve and all of the years of poor health and reactivity will slowly subside and be completely in my past. But anyways, it was a win. So I'm happy about that. Looks like we're not going to have our book club tomorrow. So, because it's Mother's Day. So anyways, I'll probably make a community post about that. But if you happen to be watching this and, we're wondering about the book club, looks like Kim messaged me today and said, should we postpone until next week? I think that's a good idea because all you mothers, you need to go, or even if you have a mother, you need to go celebrate Mother's Day and appreciate your mom. And I miss my mom. I wish I still had my mom with me, but that's okay. She lived to be 91, so that's awesome. Anyways, I think that's it. I just wanted to give everybody come in here on a Saturday, which I usually don't do. I'm kind of testing out my new little studio here. I'm working with the lighting. This is my daughter's room. She's married now, so we get to take over her room. So I've got a little slice of her room that I have as my studio, and I'm going to be working with the lighting and try to figure out what's going to work. And the rest of it is a workout area for Dave and I, which we have yet to use. I don't know what it's going to take for me to get consistent with fitness, but oh my goodness. If it's not one challenge, it's another. Fitness is definitely my nemesis for sure. But anyways, I don't know how the lighting is. I think seems to look good from what I can tell, and I'm definitely not a lighting expert, but anyways, that's it for today. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. For all of you moms out there, happy Mother's Day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.